Every June, the world celebrates the colorful Pride Month. The world's attitude about gays and lesbians has changed dramatically over the past decade or so. And the LGBT community is acutely aware of this. These changing attitudes have meant that LGBT adults feel more accepted by society now than in the past. They have also given rise to a nearly universal sense of optimism about what lies ahead for this community. The world has indeed become more accepting and tolerating as time goes by. Societal attitudes towards the LGBT vary greatly across different cultures and historical periods, as do attitudes towards sexual desire, activity, and relationships in general. All cultures have their values regarding appropriate and inappropriate sexuality. Some sanction same-sex love and sexuality, while others may not be so cool about it. With the question in mind, does the LGBT community exist in a country like North Korea? If you have been hiding under a rock for the longest time, here is a quick fact check about North Korea. North Korea is a country in East Asia constituting the northern part of the Korean peninsula. Pyongyang is the country's capital and largest city. The country is bordered to the north by China and Russia, and to the south by South Korea, with the heavily fortified Korean Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, separating the two. North Korea, like its southern counterpart, claims to be the legitimate government of the entire peninsula and adjacent islands. Since 1948, North Korea has been ruled by 3 men from the same family. Kim Il-sung was the country's first supreme leader, who was in charge until he died in 1994. Control passed next to his son, Kim Jong-il, who held power for 17 years, and now his son, Kim Jong-un. They look so alike, it's hard to tell who's who. Okay, enough on the geography lessons. North Korea is home to more than 25 million people who live under a form of communist rule, which strictly controls all areas of daily life, such as people having to ask permission to travel around. It is also difficult for visitors to enter the country too. All TVs and radios are tuned to state channels, and people caught listening to foreign broadcasts face harsh punishments. Yep, they're pretty controlling. These controls mean that most North Koreans may have little or no idea of world events, or how their country is thought of by the outside world. Imagine being quarantined your entire life with no TV, internet, and TikTok. Yikes! Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender in North Korea face legal challenges not experienced by non-LGBT citizens. Homosexuality and being openly transgender are not de jure illegal in North Korea, but are illegal through decency and obscenity laws. According to the Australian government's Smart Traveller website, same-sex relations are legal, but authorities don't accept them. Homosexuality and transgender issues, though they are not formally addressed in the penal code, criminal sanctions are sometimes levied against homosexuality or non-conforming gender expression deemed to be against the socialist lifestyle. While punishment was rare, it has been reported by the Korea Times that North Korea has executed lesbian couples for being influenced by capitalism and bringing corruption of public morals. So, to answer your question, anything that projects a form of capitalism is a huge no-no. In some cultures and religions, homosexuality brings up dangerous questions surrounding individuality. North Korea prides itself on unitary thought and actions. The mass games are a key piece of that propaganda because it demonstrates the unity of spirit that socialism brings by showing 100,000 people putting on a show. Threatening unity threatens the very existence of the state. And little else highlights the beautiful diversity of humanity than a group of people that not only don't conform to traditional sexual roles, but can also bend gender lines to the point that, for many, such artificial social constructs no longer exist. So, while a specific law may not exist, the appearance of threatening society and their unity, which North Korea takes pride for, is enough to put you in jail. Was there ever a dude in North Korea that was gay? Not to put it bluntly, but heck yeah, bet you there are a lot of them. One of them became very public and even published a memoir about his experience. Jang Hyung-jin had a normal start in life. He joined the military at 19, completed 10 years of national service, and married soon after. Trapped in his country, which he called one huge prison without bars, problems with his marriage led him to defect to South Korea. Ah, freedom. It was only when he crossed the border and spent time in a more open society did it become clear to him that he was homosexual, something he had never previously had a name for. The 55-year-old is now the only openly gay North Korean defector living in the South. According to Jang, I didn't know until after I arrived here that I was gay, or even what homosexuality was. I was too embarrassed to confess that I had defected because I felt no sexual attraction to my wife. I couldn't explain what it was that bothered me so much, he told the New York Times in June. In his recently published memoir, A Mark of Red Honor, now being translated into English, Jang describes how it felt to be thrust into the limelight, living his life as a double alien, an alien North Korean escapee in South Korean society and an alien sexual minority in a heterosexual society. Speaking to the European Alliance for Human Rights in North Korea, Jang explains that although he is free of the DPRK regime, life as an openly gay defector remains a challenge. Jang fled across the border into China in 1996, where he struggled for 13 months to find a way to South Korea. China regards North Koreans as economic migrants rather than refugees or defectors. If they are caught, they are usually sent back to face punishment. So, did North Korea ever relax their rules about the LGBT community? North Korea opposed both the joint statements on ending acts of violence and related human rights violations based on sexual orientation and gender identity at the United Nations that condemn violence and discrimination against LGBT people. Its precise reasons for doing so remain unclear. North Korean propaganda, much like the state-controlled media, almost always depicts homosexuality as a characteristic of Western and particularly American morality, which they, if you didn't get it yet, hated. In the short story Snowstorm in Pyongyang, captured crewmen of the USS Pueblo implore their North Korean captors to allow them to engage in gay sex. Here is an excerpt of that short story. Captain, sir, homosexuality is how I fulfill myself as a person. Since it does not harm your esteemed government or esteemed nation, it is unfair for Jonathan and me to be prevented from doing something that is part of our private life. The North Korean soldier responds, "This is the territory of our republic, where people enjoy lives benefiting human beings. On this soil, none of that sort of activity will be tolerated." In 2014, after the United Nations Human Rights Council published a report on human rights in North Korea, advising a referral to the International Criminal Court, the official Korean Central News Agency responded with an article that included homophobic insults against report author Michael Kirby, who is openly gay. The KCNA's article went on to state that gay marriage can never be found in the DPRK, boasting of the sound mentality and good morals, and homosexuality has become a target of public criticism even in Western countries too. It is ridiculous for such gay to support dealing with others' human rights issues. So no, the North Korean remain steadfast on their value for unification. Topics in discussion about the LGBT community are still taboo, and we don't predict it changing soon, no matter how accepting and tolerating the rest of the world is to the LGBT community. You can count North Korea out of the equation. However, it is still amazing how North Korea and its citizens are so disciplined. Their reputation in the current status quo has even become a beacon for future leaders. But is it truly effective? That's probably for another story time. What is your opinion on the current standing of the North Korean government regarding the LGBT community? Do you want to see more topics about North Korea? Let us know in the comments down below.